You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Boy, it's dark now, isn't it? Daylight savings time, but we'll take it. We'll take it. This is what I like to call the good daylight savings. Daylight savings where the morning is easier to wake up in, just a little bit. I'm down with the good daylight savings. It does make the day a little bit, shall we say, it feels a little bit shorter. It feels a lot of bit shorter. But, you know, waking up in the morning becomes a much easier task, at least temporarily. And then you get used to it, and then it's not that great anymore. But I'll take it. My problem is the bad daylight savings. You know the one that happens in spring that ruins your life. That if you were waking up at 6, you are now waking up at 6, but this 6 is what used to be 5. That I cannot stand. Anywho, we've got some things to talk about around the league, around college football. We got some top teams in college football doing really bad things to a lot of these other schools that were supposed to be in the same stratosphere. It's not like they went around and beat the Little Sisters of the Poor, right? Like they didn't do what Tennessee did to Tennessee Tech. You had Ohio State waxing Nebraska. That's a school that's a top 10 school too. But the difference between 6 and 10 never looked so wide. And I'm interested in seeing what it is that the College Football Playoff Committee is going to do with that. The difference never looked so wide. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so Ohio State dropped some on people. Louisville dropped some on people. We'll get into all of those things. We'll also get into what it is that happened with the Titans, because the Titans gave up 500 yards in the air to Phillip Rivers. And I like Phillip Rivers, and I think Phillip Rivers is a great quarterback. I think Phillip Rivers is a highly underrated quarterback. I think statistically, if you just look at what he does statistically, Phillip Rivers ought to be right there in Hall of Fame considerations with a bunch of other people. But Phillip Rivers don't have any rings, so we're not going to put him in that same conversation, even though you could argue very easily. Phillip Rivers, one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. Phillip Rivers has better numbers than Eli Manning. Eli Manning has 2 rings. Rivers has none. So Eli Manning is some guy that we're going to consider to be a Hall of Famer, even though, like, what you look at from Eli Manning on paper, if you take away the 2 championships from Eli Manning, do you not get a different resume? And Eli Manning owes a great deal to those defenses that he played with for getting him some rings, which isn't to say that he did nothing, but he owes a great deal to those defenses. Phillip Rivers has no defense to owe anything to, because he didn't really have a defense for like his whole career. They're better now, but A, they're not elite, and B, you could make that argument that Phillip Rivers never had a defense. He certainly never had the defense that Eli had. Eli could be in the Hall of Fame. Phillip probably won't be, and Phillip lights up the Titans 500 yards passing. Just a reminder, oh yeah, that guy can still ball over there in San Diego. And I don't know what it is with the Chargers and the Titans, but those games always feel weird to me. They always feel weird. Like, the Titans always do better than I think they will against the Chargers. But the Chargers seem to always pick up a ton of yards on the Titans. Like, those games are always high-scoring games for no good reason. There's no explainable reason why those games are so high-scoring. At least there is no reason that anyone has ever given me that makes any sense. All right, like, you could make the argument now that the way that the Titans play football now, yeah, that you could be in a high-scoring game. But, like, before Mariota got here, how did we get into some of these games? Marcus Mariota had a good day. Critical mistake in the game, but he had a good day, and people jump very quickly between whether or not they like Mariota, which I find to be interesting. Let me save that for just a second here, just to tell you that here at Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, we are not just a radio platform. We are that, but we are so much more. I recommend you check us out on social media to see what's up with us. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we get to hear from you, interact with you. It's all about you and what it is that you're thinking. What do you want covered? What do you want to talk about? Facebook, honestly, leave us a Facebook post. We like that stuff. Also, Noogaradio.com. You can stream all of our shows 24/7, 365, and on the TuneIn Radio app. If you search Hot News Talk Radio in the app, give us a favorite, press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. That's Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio and the TuneIn Radio app. Listen like you mean it. So there are people who basically waffle back and forth between do they or don't they like Marcus Mariota. But let me say some things about Marcus Mariota, because he did have the mistake in the game, and you could blame the loss on him. You could. But why would you do that? In the long term, when you draft a quarterback, you draft a quarterback of the future, right? How many games has Marcus Mariota played in? Marcus Mariota has played in a grand total of 22 games. Only 22. He is 23 years old. This is his second year in the league. And by all visual accounts, right? Because you don't rely solely on the eye test, but you can rely on the eye test a little bit based solely on what is visual. Marcus Mariota is progressing every single week in spite of Mike Mularkey, not because of him. In spite of what that offense does, not because of it. That offense does nothing that Marcus Mariota does well. Mariota does a really good job of making plays with his feet. He gets out of bounds or he gets down before he takes shots. He keeps his eyes downfield. He doesn't just escape the pocket. He takes what the defense gives him. These are all things that he's being coached very well in doing. And also, he's always been an accurate passer, going all the way back to Oregon. He's always been accurate. So it's not something new with Marcus Mariota that we're necessarily getting. But he's doing so much in spite of the offense given to him. And by the way, outside of like the running game, it's not like Marcus Mariota got given a ton of weapons either. Like all of these wonderful, delightful receivers to play with, he hasn't had, an A.J. Green. He doesn't get a stable of receivers that like Matt Ryan's got, Julio and Mohamed Sanu and a bunch of guys that could play. Right? I mean, you look at what they've got over in Oakland. They got a receiving core that can play. I mean, helmed by Amari Cooper, who, as we know, is the truth. But you got a bunch of guys who can play, man. And he doesn't even have that. And Marcus Mariota is doing something that proves he is the quarterback of the future. And if he's the quarterback of the future, you really shouldn't give him that hard of a time, right? But how do I know that Marcus Mariota is the quarterback of the future? Let's take a look at some of these numbers here, okay? Because I was on Reddit, and user Senior Bush 32 had a fantastic breakdown on past Tennessee quarterbacks and what it is that they have managed to accomplish for the Tennessee Titans in their time as quarterback. Okay? These are the quarterbacks. These names ought to sound familiar but maybe they don't because the cup of coffee that they were here for. But these names ought to sound familiar because these are the guys that have passed through, right? Jake Locker, Kerry Collins, Vince Young, Rusty Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Zach Mettenberger, Matt Hasselbeck. Those are the guys that came in before Mariota. That's a lot of quarterbacks, by the way, in a very short amount of time. It is Washington Redskins-esque. It is Cleveland Browns-esque. So if you are in that hate camp with Marcus Mariota, basically saying, this is not a guy that we should spend any time on or spend much more time on. Let's move on to another quarterback, which I tell you is the sign of an unstable organization. Cleveland Browns, Washington Redskins, need I say more, right? Here's what the deal was with Jake Locker. Jake Locker played 30 games, 27 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 57% completed passes. Kerry Collins, 32 games, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, 55% completed passes. Vince Young, 54 games, 42 touchdowns, 42 interceptions. That's not a great ratio. 57 completed passes. Rusty Smith, 3 games, no touchdowns, 4 picks, 51 completed passes, right? Like, I don't need to tell you that Rusty Smith was awful. Ryan Fitzpatrick did the Ryan Fitzpatrick thing. 11 games, 14 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 62% passes completed. So at least we're starting to get into the 60s with these completed passes. Zach Mettenberger, 14 games, 12 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 60% completed passes. Matt Hasselbeck, 24 games, 25 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 62% completed passes. So the guys with the most completed passes still have really bad touchdown to interception ratios. There isn't anybody that's played for the Titans in a really long time that has put up numbers in terms of completing passes at a percentage that's reasonable, and also throwing a decent amount of touchdowns while keeping the interceptions low. Until Marcus Mariota. Here's Marcus Mariota. 22 games, 36 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. 63% of his passes are completed. Marcus Mariota, by the way, has been consistently hovering around 65% of completed passes since college. So this is not a guy that was just throwing to guys who were just wide open at Oregon, which is the fear, and that's what a lot of people felt like. This is a guy who is completing passes because he is mentally taking the game seriously and hitting the receivers that are open. He's not trying to force things into double coverage. He's not trying to fit the ball into tight windows. He's not failing to look off receivers. He's doing all the things that a quarterback is supposed to do. And quite frankly, if I had to choose between Marcus Mariota's development at this moment and Jameis Winston's at this moment, not long term, just at this moment, I'm taking Marcus Mariota right now. Of the two guys, Marcus Mariota appears to be the better quarterback. Now, he is also on the better team. The jury's out on whether or not he's got the better coach, but he is on the better team, right? He's still got, I wouldn't say that he's got stars around him to help him, but he's got the support there. When you've got a guy like DeMarco Murray who can run the ball and Derrick Henry who can run the ball and an offensive line that, quite frankly, is pretty well put together. It's not a great offensive line, but it's solid and probably going to get better. Because that's been a focus of this team. If that's the case, I'm taking Mariota over Winston right now. Like, I understand why you took Winston number 1 in the draft, but at this moment, not even in discussion of where their careers are going to wind up and all that, because I think Jameis Winston's going to turn out fine. I just think Tampa Bay has got a lot of holes, and they're just not very good. But Marcus Mariota right now, better than Jameis Winston right now. And what Jameis Winston, or what Marcus Mariota rather, is doing is pretty incredible given that it's his second year in the league and he hasn't shown the regression. It's not a regression at all. His IQ, his football IQ, seems to have progressed. And I see him throwing the ball with a whole lot more confidence, but not so much confidence that he's taking unnecessary risks, causing the team to be put in positions where there are turnovers that don't make any sense. We haven't seen that out of him. Not frequently, but he is a young player, and he's going to make his mistakes. And you know what? A couple of turnovers in that game really didn't help the cause. But come on now. I mean, I've seen this so many times. First off, I'm a Redskins fan, so the backup quarterback is always the most popular quarterback in that town. But my dad was in the Army, and I've moved around everywhere, and I hear it everywhere we've ever moved, is your team's got a decent quarterback or a solid quarterback, and everybody doubts that guy. Nobody really trusts that guy. And I don't know if you've ever driven through Atlanta and listened to Atlanta sports radio. When the Falcons are doing well, we're cool with Matt Ryan. When the Falcons are shaky, it doesn't matter how well or how poorly Matt Ryan plays. We all pile on Matt Ryan, and we're not sure if Matt Ryan's the guy. And is Matt Ryan actually a good quarterback? And all of these things, despite the fact that Matt Ryan has been a solid quarterback since he entered the league, he made the playoffs. Since he entered the league. And now we're starting to hear it with Mariota. Because the rookie season, that's the honeymoon season. That's the season where Marcus Mariota, look, he's young, he can't do anything wrong, etc. So we give him the pass on all of his mistakes. Even though he should get that pass automatically, he's a rookie. He's not going to come out slinging the rock and making great decisions. But Peyton Manning didn't. Peyton Manning came out in the league and just threw a ton of picks. He threw a lot of touchdowns too, but he threw a lot of interceptions. Andrew Luck, a lot of interceptions. I mean, that's what rookies do. That's what young players do. What you want is for them to grow out of the habits that cause them to throw interceptions, right? Like, that's what's frustrating about Ryan Fitzpatrick, is that Ryan Fitzpatrick never grew out of those habits. He still throws the same stupid, knuckleheaded interceptions at the wrong times that anybody could have told you really ought not to be throwing the ball right there. That's what's so frustrating about Tony Romo, who is an actual good quarterback. But because Tony Romo throws those interceptions at those times, frustrating. Because even he knows that's not a great idea. You don't even have that in Marcus Mariota. You have a guy who's in his second year in the league. He's still learning to play, by the way, the most complicated position in sports. He's progressing all the time. He looked good on Sunday. He really did. The only player in the last bunch of quarterbacks, by the way, that got named there with more touchdown passes than Marcus Mariota is Vince Young. Vince Young threw 42 touchdown passes. No other quarterback in that span threw 42. Nobody even got close to 40. Marcus Mariota is at 36, and he played 32 less games than Vince Young. Vince Young played 54 to get to 42 touchdowns. Marcus Mariota is about to get to 40 after 22 games. It's not even close. Marcus Mariota is the best quarterback that the Titans have had in ever, like in ages. Like since Steve McNair, the best quarterback you've had. And he makes some mistakes in his second year in the league, and people are already off the Mariota bandwagon. How is that possible? You understand that the growing pains that everybody goes through is not just exclusive to you and the Titans. And I understand you want them to be good, but don't be ridiculous. Yeah, I like what the Titans are doing. I like the direction they're headed in. I still don't like the pace of their offense. I think it's too slow. I think Mularkey's wrong for that. But the talent that they have been able to put out on the field, it's paying dividends. It's actually working out. And Marcus Mariota is not just a part of that. He's central to that. You need that for this to work. And he's doing a good job. Get off his back. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. LSU played Alabama, and while the outcome of the game might be what we expected, LSU might have been able to take that game if it weren't for that pesky Jalen Hurts kid. Let me tell you more about it. On Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. Plug to Keon Rose.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you'll make all year.
And now to our reporter in the field.
We asked Ray at Ray's Plumbing what's important for homeowners to know.
Some field line systems can cost upwards of $10,000. The bottom line is to save yourself money down the road. I would definitely recommend everybody with a septic that is not on county or city sewer to have an inspection done by a qualified professional. It'd be great if nobody did inspections on them for all plumbing companies. That's what we do to make a living. Not to scare anyone, but it should be in the back of your mind. The danger is the field lines failing and costing thousands upon thousands of dollars and tearing your yard up. By preventative maintenance, you're saving yourself a large headache that may displace yourself and your family. That happens more often than you think. The waste is designed to stay in the tank, and that waste will build up over time. Even with treatment, we have to help that waste break down. Ultimately, preventative maintenance is the key that will keep you from spending $5,000 to $10,000 on replacing your septic system. The bottom line is to save yourself money down the road.
Call Ray at Ray's Plumbing, 421-6341, 421-6341.
A $500 gift card.
$500? What?
That's right, Bunky. A $500 gift card from a store of your choice. The agents at Exit Realty Scenic City are confident they can sell your house. They can do it in 99 days or less. If your listing proves a slowpoke, they will give you a $500 gift card. No one works harder for you than agents at Exit Realty Scenic City. Licensed in Tennessee and Georgia. Exit sells quickly all types of commercial and residential properties and vacant land. Looking for a dream home, or maybe you're just a first-time home buyer? Let an agent get you started today on your house search. If you're a real estate agent looking for a change, see what Exit can do for you. Training, technology, branding, culture, and financial freedom. Again, Exit Realty Scenic City. Call 423-551-EXIT to learn more. Call 423-551-EXIT and learn more.
Terms and restrictions may apply.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis has the cash when you sell gold, silver, diamonds, rings, and jewelry. Sell Rick your precious metals today and lock in your price. Hey, Rick Davis will trade your cash for shiny, brilliant, and heavy gold. Gold cheaper now by $100 an ounce. Join the Rick Davis Silver Bonanza too. Prices so low, the Lone Ranger is bound to gallop in, Kimosabe.
Hey-ho, silver, away!
The markets are changing, so buy now. Cash, 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 and more cash for your silver and gold, gold, gold. Rick Davis, 5301 Brainerd Road. That's 5301 Brainerd Road. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Oh, and cash, cash, cash. You know where it is.
Hey-ho, silver, away! Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. Up to 25 acres ablaze as smoke covers Hamilton County. The Tennessee Forestry Service and multiple volunteer fire departments are working on clearing out fires all over the Tennessee Valley, most of them on mountains. There's one on Lookout Mountain, one on Signal Mountain, one on Mowbray Mountain, causing major visibility problems for those near them and even for those away from them. This morning, heavy smoke was even visible on the Thrasher Bridge over the Tennessee River. So far, no injuries and no scorched homes. A motorcyclist in McMinn County had to be airlifted to the hospital with major injuries after his motorcycle crashed. Police on scene said that he had serious injuries. A tractor-trailer derailed on I-24 westbound this morning, causing major traffic delays starting at about 8:17. It happened at the 7524 West Junction. Traffic was at an almost complete stop. Keep it tuned here for complete election coverage from us here at Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com. Like us on Facebook and get us on TuneIn.
Expect mostly clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Overnight lows still cool between 45 and 48. Now for your Tuesday, some passing clouds mixing with the sunshine. Highs a little closer to 70. Still looking dry for the midweek, but a little cooler with highs dropping into the 60s. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, Ringgold, and now 5203 Brainerd Road. That's Guthrie's. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Martin Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocked him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Hot News Talk 1240. The voice of NASCAR.
So LSU had their problems pretty much exposed when they played Alabama. The big problem that they had. Their offense isn't that great. Now, believe you me, most of the time it's going to look amazing. When you play Alabama, it's just not going to look that great. I don't know if their offense actually isn't that great because, like, previous to Alabama, they hadn't really played anybody. But playing Alabama is really going to – I mean, Alabama is not the real test. Alabama is, like, the test that's way too hard. Alabama's the bonus questions you don't need to pass the class. It's like, if I wanted to pass the class with 112, I suppose I could take these questions, but I probably won't. So I don't know that this is an accurate gauge of how effective LSU's offense is. But against Alabama's offense, it's not that great. Alabama does not need to send extra anybody to stop anybody. They do not need to send extra pass rushers to get to your quarterback. They don't need to send extra pressure to try and funnel Leonard Fournette anywhere. They don't. They have elite athletes everywhere. And people keep talking about Leonard Fournette versus Alabama. Like, look, Alabama's Leonard Fournette's kryptonite. Like, really? What running backs have played well against Alabama? Which running backs have actually gone off against Alabama? No, wait. Can you really name any that just Alabama, they just couldn't stop him? Couldn't find an answer for that guy. Leonard Fournette's still the offense of LSU, which kind of got overshadowed in a game that was truly and honestly a defensive battle. And not a defensive battle in the way that some people call things a defensive battle. Like a defensive battle that sometimes comes up when people want to excuse football that's boring. Like, y'all just not scoring points, so you went ahead and called it a defensive battle. The defenses on the field were truly elite. If anything, the ability to hold Alabama to merely 10 points tells you that LSU's defense isn't just good, it's great. And would possibly be the best defense we've ever seen if Alabama's defense this season wasn't the best defense we've ever seen. It's the best defense we've ever seen. And by the way, I guess props to LSU also for not making the big error that allows Alabama's defense to score. Finally broke up that streak because Alabama's defense was being about as prolific scoring the ball as a lot of offenses in college sports. They're that good. I hate it. I'm standing here, I'm tooting the horn of Alabama, right? And Nick Saban. But this is a very well-designed team. Okay? And I get that Alabama's got the leg up in recruiting because they're Bama. But man, I just like watching good sports, right? Like, I'm not going to be the guy that complains when LeBron goes to Miami. I'm also not the guy that complains when Kevin Durant goes to Golden State. So I'm not about to be the guy that complains when Alabama just gets people because they're Alabama. That's just kind of the way the world works, so you just learn to deal with it, right? That's okay. other radio stations have guys that are more famous than us, so we just have to go out there and work harder and make better radio. I'm not trying to sit here and make excuses. So I don't have a problem with Bama being Bama and getting people because they're Bama. Like, that's fine. But holy smokes, that made LSU's defense. Like, LSU's defense made that offense look bad. And it made Jalen Hurts look bad. And people had that question about Jalen Hurts. Like, when is it going to happen for this kid that he finally has a game that makes him look like a freshman? This was that game. This was his bad freshman game. But you can't, you fail to take away one thing from the young man, Jalen Hurts, which is that he is an athlete. And not just an athlete, a playmaker. Playmakers have one ability that other players on the field don't necessarily have. A playmaker will break your back. And your LSU and this ball game is tied at 0, and you're in the third, and you're late in the third, and you're hanging in there, and you've got a puncher's chance. You might be able to get away with a field goal on this one. You're doing your best to hang in there. You are bottling up Jalen Hurts. He can't go in any direction. They run that option, you stuff it. And not just Hurts, you're bottling up Scarborough, you're bottling up Harris, you're stopping everybody. Not only that, but Hurts is trying to throw the ball, and you're picking it off. Like, your defense came out there with authority if you're the Tigers. And you have to be happy with the way that looked. That defense is an elite defense. But Jalen Hurts is a playmaker. And it only took one play. He broke their back. It was 3rd and 9. Right? You have the guy dead to rights. But Jalen Hurts is running around out there like he's young Steve Young. In terms of the ability to improvise, because you see a lot of guys. A lot of guys are fast. A lot of guys are really good at juking people out, about making people miss. But there are some guys who you can only describe as football runners. They just intuitively know how to use their body to play football. Like, Tim Tebow was one of those guys. Tim Tebow was running. Tim Tebow wasn't the fastest guy, though underrated with that speed. Tim Tebow was actually really fast. Tim Tebow wasn't going to juke you out of your socks. What was Tebow going to do? Tebow knew when to lower the shoulder and knock you over. He knew when to space out just enough to give you a bad angle so you couldn't tackle it. Tim Tebow, brilliant football runner. I'm not sure about Lamar Jackson just yet in terms of his ability to be a football runner. Yeah, there's no doubt about his speed. Michael Vick, amazing football runner. Johnny Football, amazing football runner. Some guys just know how to manipulate the defense, how to get the other 21 guys on field to get out of their way. And Jalen Hurts, he has that. And he only needed to get away once. And that touchdown was all she wrote, because we knew LSU wasn't going to score on Alabama. And again, can't state this enough. Not a failure on the part of LSU. Right? Like, they came into that game offensively with Danny Etling as their quarterback. And Etling had some good games, but as I mentioned over and over again, he had some good games against inferior competition. It wasn't great competition. And he'll have some good games against probably solid competition too. But this defense is an absolutely elite defense. There's no two ways about it. Danny Etling can't compete against them. Okay, Trevor Knight, possibly the best quarterback chance that Alabama had to lose against, and he couldn't do it. In fact, the best day that anybody's had as a quarterback against Alabama so far this season, Austin Allen. And that game wasn't even as close as it looked. Alabama was beating them way worse than it looked like. The yards came in the game, but Arkansas didn't have a chance to win. I mean, this game is a game. 10 points in a game like this one is a blowout. It doesn't read like that on paper. You only scored 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. But LSU, the most that LSU could have gotten in that game at any point was 3 points. And once they gave up the touchdown, you could see it. They were never going to get it. They weren't deflated, but the game was so tight. That's the ball game. It really felt that way. Jalen Hurts runs in that touchdown. Unless somebody comes up with a monster play, and it's not for the lack of trying. And LSU came up with quite a few plays, but unless somebody gets a monster play, wasn't going to happen. You're listening to Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Just leaving the SEC for a little bit. Louisville beat Boston College. Like they stole something, man. I mean, they beat Boston College bad, 52-7. They hung 50 on them. Okay, and in some of these big games, the scores get kind of ridiculous. You get TCU and Baylor, which was kind of a big game for Baylor, even though they already lost to Texas, so there's no way. But, I mean, you're trying to hang around, maybe see if anybody else is catching some L's, and then maybe you never know. You find your way in there, and then TCU shows up and hangs 62 on you. 62-20. I told you before the break, Ohio State. They beat Nebraska. 62-10. I couldn't believe it. I mean, something is wrong there. That school was ranked, man. You know, I want to come back to the SEC for a little bit because Auburn and Vandy, that was a fun game. That game is absolutely impressive. And I'm impressed with Vanderbilt still. I mean, not their ability on offense necessarily, but I mean, that block kick at the end of the game. Look, Vandy is a team you don't want to wind up dueling them defensively ever. I'm very confident if you wind up in a low-scoring game with Vanderbilt, you lose. And I don't really care who you are. If you're not Alabama, you wind up in a low-scoring game with Vanderbilt, you lose. You don't break 20, there's no guarantee that you come out of that game a victor. The Auburn fortunate, getting to 23 points and still just barely getting out of the game. I mean, until Vanderbilt had to play offense. But up until that point, I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, that school defensively has got it together. I don't know what they have to do, what NCAA sanctions they have to find themselves having so they could just have an offense for like 1 year. But I would do it. So they could have a good quarterback, maybe a good receiver for him to throw to, a nice left tackle, and a running back for like 1 year. Because, my God, how much more can you ask Ralph Webb to do, really? He's the offense. He's the offense. And it's like at some point you're just looking at it and going, poor guy. Get this team a QB. I'm not saying break the rules, but if you got to break the rules, like what? It's not like you were doing beautifully anyway. Vanderbilt is just trying to be bowl eligible year in and year out. Let's just make it to a bowl game. I'm not suggesting that they bring the NCAA sanctions in on themselves. I'm just saying if you had to do something to get yourself an offense for like 2 to 3 years that people could enjoy watching, I mean, the sanctions are coming for you. It's just like, oh boy, that Vanderbilt got good out of nowhere. But like, you're so great academically. Could that not buy you some leeway with the NC2A? None at all. This is why I can't be the athletic director of a school. I do it. I do it in a heartbeat. I'm not saying that they should do it. I'm saying I would do it. I'm saying I am morally bankrupt enough that if I looked at that school and that team with that defense and that running back with Ralph Webb, and they're just languishing, looking absolutely like every scoring drive is made out of pain, like they are just running on Legos up the field just to try and score points. If I saw that on the field representing me, I'd try and get them an offense. That's all I'm saying. I mean, maybe you would. I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you what you would and wouldn't do. But I would. That's just what it is. Clemson, Syracuse. Clemson 54-0. Just shut them out. They had a 20-point second quarter. Like, in case you had thoughts and doubts and everything about Deshaun Watson. And it's now time to gloat. I love to gloat. It's my favorite thing to do right after sleeping and eating is gloating. Actually, I enjoy gloating more than I enjoy eating, now that I think about it. Almost as much as I enjoy sleeping, but sleeping is still the king. A good gloat, you can't ever replace that with anything. Gloating is the best thing that you can do. It's healthy for you. I don't know if science has proved this yet, but I'm sure it will. Gloating must be good for you because I feel fantastic every time I get to gloat. And I said this about Florida, and I'm going to say it again. Florida has a tough schedule, and there is zero chance that they were supposed to win out. Like, they're supposed to win out if they were going to try and be the undisputed victors of the SEC East. 0% chance that they win out. In fact, from this point moving forward, there is still 0% chance that they win out. My last reason was Austin Allen is the truth. Arkansas throws the ball better than anybody that Florida's really played this season. I don't know why Arkansas passes the ball so well all of a sudden, but they do. And the way that they move the football going to challenge some of those rookies that they have over there in Florida. That defense over there in Florida, by the way, is great defense. And they got beat to death to the tune of 31-10. That's a good defense. And they got whacked. That's a good defense. But, like, 243 yards in the air for Arkansas. You've got 229 yards passing from Luke Del Rio, which is good for him, but 2 interceptions. Like, when you ask Luke Del Rio to try and win a shootout style game, which is what you have to do to beat Arkansas these days. When you ask Luke Del Rio to win that game, he's going to make mistakes. He is a good, solid quarterback. Luke Del Rio is fine for that team. He's not great. He's not a transcendent quarterback. And you need a good quarterback. College, pro, doesn't matter. High school, I mean, you need it less than high school, but you do need it. And Florida gives up 466 total yards. I mean, Florida got hosed. And these are the rushing totals, by the way, for the Florida Gators. As a team, 12 rushing yards. 12. Thompson, 19 yards. Scarlett, 15 yards. Perrine, 3 yards. Luke Del Rio sacked for a grand total, of course, of negative 25, dragging the whole total back. But this is horrible. Your leading rusher had 19 yards on 3 attempts. I mean, you basically gave up on running the football. Not that you were running it well when you decided to commit to the run. You might be a little bit too by committee here if you're Florida. You can do this with running backs. And I think that there is a level of balance that you need to have if you're going to do running back by committee, as they've chosen to do down in Florida. Running back by committee works really well with guys if none of your backs really is one of those guys that relies on a rhythm. But running backs do run with rhythm. I mean, you ever hear the phrase, he gets better as the game goes on? I don't know if that's necessarily true, but the idea that that even looks like that comes from the idea that a running back over time starts to pick up a rhythm. And my gosh, you look around and the guy's he's got 110 yards and a touchdown. When did that happen? Like, even his bad performances, he just looks good. And the more the game goes on and the more he gets hit, the more he can put those hits behind him and not worry about it, not think about it so much. And now the rhythm of the game is coming. And it's starting to sound a lot more like jazz to him. Like this, that seems like it's an actual thing. And Florida is probably proving it better than anybody. None of their running backs ever get into a rhythm. It's death by committee, not running back by committee. They're killing their offense. 12 total rushing yards. You ran 3 different running backs. It didn't work. Your leading rusher's got 19 yards. Your second leading rusher's got 15. It didn't work. Because if you look at these totals of carries, 3 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, or 3 carries, 5 carries, 3 carries. You can't do anything with that. That's 11 total carries between 3 guys. For a grand total of 12 yards when you add in Luke Del Rio's sack. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, Florida's got issues. And if they think they're just going to walk through the rest of their schedule, I got another thing coming on that one. It wasn't ever going to be easy. It's incredible. And I look at that and I go, boy, I wish I could tell you the worst is left to be done here, but you guys still have to play South Carolina. South Carolina looking a lot better than anybody thought. They're coming off the bye. I think South Carolina is going to give Florida some trouble. I don't think Florida ultimately loses to South Carolina, but they're going to give you some trouble. And then you've got to play LSU the week after. Oh, that's right, LSU. LSU with the elite defense, LSU. LSU held Alabama to 10 points, LSU, that LSU. And you scored 10 points against Arkansas. You had 12 total yards of rushing against Arkansas. Yeah, LSU is going to school you. And your defense is good, but it's not Alabama good. There will be points to be had for the Tigers. And Leonard Fournette, he has trouble against Alabama's defense, but everybody has trouble against Alabama's defense. Everybody does not have trouble against Florida's defense, obviously. Because my man Ryan Williams went out there and ran for 148 yards. And 2 touchdowns on 26 carries. It was a very efficient night for that guy. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And some stuff, it's just some ugly stuff happening in college football. Michigan beat Maryland 59-3. That's the other one that blows me away. Like, are you sure you're in the same conference? I know Maryland's a basketball school, but gee whiz. That 2 schools in the same conference should not have that be a problem for them. And by the way, this is the second time this has happened to Michigan because they punched Rutgers out of existence, if you recall. They leveled Rutgers. I mean, the Big Ten is just a joke on some level. That's what it feels like anyway. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch. I'll see you in 24 hours, but don't you go anywhere. Alex Jones is coming up next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
And now to our reporter in the field.
We asked Ray at Ray's Plumbing what's important for homeowners to know.
Some field line systems can cost upwards of $10,000. The bottom line is to save yourself money down the road. I would definitely recommend everybody with a septic that is not on county or city sewer to have an inspection done by a qualified professional. It'd be great if nobody did inspections on them for all plumbing companies. That's what we do to make a living. Not to scare anyone, but it should be in the back of your mind. The danger is a field line failing and costing thousands upon thousands of dollars and tearing your yard up. But by preventative maintenance, you're saving yourself a large headache that may displace yourself and your family. That happens more often than you think. The waste is designed to stay in the tank, and that waste will build up over time. Even with treatment, we have to help that waste break down. Ultimately, preventative maintenance is the key that will keep you from spending $5,000 to $10,000 on replacing your septic system. The bottom line is to save yourself money down the road.
Call Ray at Ray's Plumbing, 421-6341, 421-6341.
At Eyer Optical, it's a well-known fact. When you buy one pair of glasses, you get a second pair absolutely free. But did you know Eyer Optical has the largest eyeglass selection in the area, with top-name brands and styles in the latest trends? Schedule your appointment with one of the doctors today for a comprehensive eye exam. And remember, when you buy one pair of glasses, you get a second pair absolutely free. Visit EyerOptical.com for a location near you.
Eyer Optical.
Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com